Hi. Almost everyone watches me without a subscription. Please support my channel with a subscription. I try for you. Thank you.
Story 1. My wife and I are about to kick our daughter out. Don't worry, she's a grown 22 years old college grad. She moved out, but moved back to save money about a year ago. She's employed full-time, and the only financial obligation she has aside from paying for the wedding she's planning at the end of this year is her $200 per month car note. We even paid half of her tuition all 4 years of school so she wouldn't have to pay student loans for the next 30 years like my wife is still doing. She likes to complain about our meager expectations of her: dishes, laundry, keeping her space clean, being respectful and considerate of the other 3 of us living in the house. These shouldn't be foreign concepts to her, as she was only living away from home for 6 months before moving back in. She got engaged to a guy in a foreign country after 6 months of dating, talking on the phone for hours at a time, often on speaker while pacing the halls. She has only flown down to visit him 5 times for 3 to 5 days at a time. Not enough time to know who the other person truly is. Their relationship is chock full of red flag behavior from both of them. She tells us she has everything figured out, but constantly presents us with examples of how ill-prepared she is for marriage and being financially independent. Recently, our dialogue has escalated from us asking that she take into account the rest of us living in the house and how her actions affect us to her screaming and storming off exclaiming that she can't wait to leave. The next time we have one of these heated conversations, my wife and I are going to inform her that it is no longer in anyone's best interest for her to continue living in our house. If she is truly an adult and feels she doesn't owe us the respect due to parents who are allowing their adult child to live in their house rent-free, preparing her meals for her, and covering her living expenses, she can blaze her own trail on her own dime. It's not fair to my wife, myself, or our teenaged son to live in an environment fraught with turmoil. I love her, but if she believes she would be better off without us lording our rules over her, it's time to watch the little bridie fly. Update: so maybe the original title was hyperbolic. My wife and I would never throw her on the streets, but the tension between everyone in the house was obvious and counterproductive. We never kicked our daughter out, but I did tell her during one of our heated exchanges that she might want to consider finding a place to stay if she felt we were a hindrance to her independence. She quickly shot down the idea when I told her rooms in our hometown were renting for almost as much as our mortgage payment. The argumentative nature of our interactions was still present, but after she and I had several deep discussions in the following months, things improved. A lot of our arguments revolved around her stress trying to plan a wedding, balance work, and coordinate how she'd integrate into life in a new country while still living in the U.S. We just happened to be the easiest target when she needed a place to unload. I'm a problem solver by nature, and it's hard for me to listen to someone vent/explain an issue and not be working on a solution in my head. I suppose my daughter really just wanted a sympathetic ear and no input from me on how to solve her problems. I worked actively to improve the way I addressed her emotions/opinions, and things got much better. We did have a hiccup a couple of weeks before she moved. It started because of a winter coat. I had suggested that even though her new home would be in a tropical climate, it might be wise to take a winter coat/heavy jacket with her. My logic was simply that she may end up flying into a country where she'd need cold weather apparel, and without a coat, it would cost her at least $100 to get a reasonably good coat. Words were exchanged, and we agreed to disagree on the concept. Turns out she thought I was suggesting she take everything she had in the house with her because we didn't want any sign that she had ever lived in the house. I don't know how she drew the conclusion that I didn't want any trace of her from my comment, but that was what she gleaned from my advice. In the weeks before she moved, we took a beach vacation with all of us and my parents, visited my in-laws, had family movie nights, ate meals from our favorite restaurants, had bridal showers, practiced our daddy-daughter dance while crying like babies, sold her car for $2,000 more than what she bought it for 2 years prior, and helped her get all of her packing done. After Thanksgiving, we took her to the airport and she was gone. 2.5 weeks later, we headed down for the wedding. We met our son-in-law and his family for the first time, and despite the language barrier, we were all enjoying each other's company. I managed to dust off my 6 years of high school and college Spanish and gave my daddy speech in both Spanish and English at the reception. The ceremony was beautiful. My daughter was beautiful. My whole family, new, extended, and immediate, were beautiful/handsome. Since the wedding, we stay in touch with each other almost every day. She's starting to see a lot of things from a different perspective, and I know a lot of that is because she has her own life now with her husband. I couldn't help but to chuckle when she explained how cold one of their honeymoon destinations was, and that she was glad to have her coat. I even joked with her about how being overprepared for the situation saved her a lot of headache and some dollar. I've never seen her so happy, and I'm glad she found a man who loves her and treats her well. We're eagerly looking forward to having her come home to visit in about 2 months. I'm sure the pleasant outcome will probably disappoint many fellow Redditors. I mean, who doesn't love piling on a frustrated parent by shaming them and scoffing at every decision they have made to give their kid a better start than they had at her age? Story 2. OOP misses all the signs his roommate was interested in him. My roommate moved out this morning. She's immigrating. The two of us have shared an apartment for almost 2 years. I've always been attracted to her, but I didn't want to be the guy who tried to fuck the first female roommate he got, so I did my best to keep our relationship as platonic as possible. However, last night being the last night my roommate and I were gonna be roommates, I decided to tell her that I always thought she was attractive. I also made it clear that I didn't expect anything to happen, I just wanted to get it off my chest so we could laugh about it without worrying that it might be awkward the next day, and the day after that, etc. My roommate playfully punched me on my shoulder and said she gave me so many opportunities. I had no idea what she was talking about, which prompted her to provide the following examples. 1. When we were dancing in the club and the song finished, our faces were so close together, our foreheads were literally touching. But instead of kissing her at that moment, I apparently rolled my eyes to the back of my head and asked if I looked like Storm in X-Men. 2. When she asked me to show her what kind of porn I enjoyed watching, I showed her mine and she volunteered to show me hers. We were sitting on the couch, watching people fuck, and still I did nothing. 3. When I was hospitalized, she said she would be happy to nurse me when I get home, but only if I promised to wear nothing but my hospital gown. 4. When she asked me for a piggyback ride to her room when she was done showering and only wearing a towel. 5. When she confessed to sleeping in one of my shirts because I was away for the weekend and she wanted to feel close to me. I can go on, it was a long list, but this was the top 5 for me. It seemed so obvious now, but at the time I was fucking clueless. I think I was too focused on not crossing that line that my brain completely blocked out any signs of sexual chemistry. My roommate and I laughed about it, but deep down I was so angry at myself for losing out on what could have been a more exciting experience because I was unable to connect the dots. Relevant comments from OOP. I'm in the US. She's moved to the UK. Going after her is not an option for me at the moment. We promised to stay in touch, but I don't know if there's room for anything more to happen between us. I think I've thoroughly burned that bridge. Back when it actually happened, she made it sound like she decided to wear my shirt to bed because she randomly found it in her mountain of clean laundry and thought it looked kind of comfortable to sleep in. I don't know how she expected me to see through that and realize what was really going on when I couldn't even interpret the semi-naked piggyback rides, LOL. Nope. But our goodnight hug was really intimate. It was like we didn't want to let go of each other. I have no doubt in my mind that at some point the two of us considered doing something sexual, but nothing happened. And I believe that was for the best. She's beginning her life somewhere else, and I wouldn't want to complicate that. Update: I'm gonna refer to my roommate as my friend because we're no longer roommates. She's in the UK now. I video called her this morning. She showed me her new house and thanked me for secretly packing one of my shirts in her luggage. It was the same shirt she slept in when I was away, and she was alone in our apartment. Based on the strong reactions I received in my original post, I decided to tell my friend that I feel like the biggest idiot for letting her slip through my fingers, and I regret not making one single move when she gave me so many chances. At some point, she had to tell me to take a breath because I couldn't stop talking about all the times I thought about telling her how hot she was. I had my own list this time. A list of random moments when I almost shared my feelings with her. She asked if I was still a virgin, which caught me off guard, not gonna lie. I awkwardly said yes. My friend said she had a feeling that was the case and asked me more questions to establish how experienced or inexperienced I was when it came to the opposite sex. I answered honestly, which was embarrassing because I've never been in a relationship and I've done nothing more than kiss a few girls in the past. My friend said hear me out and suggested that we pretend to be roommates during our video call. Then she said I should forget about the missed opportunities and focus on the fact that she wanted me just as much as I wanted her. I had to imagine that we were still sharing an apartment, she never moved out, and we were both about to make the first move. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but for the first time ever we were very clear about what we wanted to do each other. The things she said to me gave me a boner. She actually convinced me to show it to her. More might have happened, but a random bug flew past her and she freaked out. It was hilarious. Anyway, that is my update. It's not the biggest success story, but it's something. I don't know what any of this means for my friend and I, but it's been an interesting journey so far and I hope it continues. TLDR, I was blind to the signs that my roommate was attracted to me, and when I finally found out what I've been missing out on, it was too late to do anything about it because my now ex-roommate has moved overseas. But, as per my update, we're now having sexy video calls, so there's that. Relevant comments from OOP. I'm not exactly sure how permanent it is because she's not sure either. The company she now works for is based in the UK, but she's working on a fixed-term contract that gets renewed after a year, so it's unclear for how long she will be employed. Time will tell. For now, she's convinced she made the right decision because it's a good opportunity. I hope it all works out for her over there. I'm too poor to pay for flights at the moment, but my friend is planning to fly back towards the end of March for a few days. We'll keep communicating in the meantime. Time will tell if the sexual chemistry we have now will last long distance. I'm optimistic, but I'm also realistic. Whatever happens, I hope we never lose touch with each other.